4-man mosh pit followed by a tomb. Oh no!
Oh, here's Light Bomb coming in on the Genji, and that's a 5-man Light Bomb. They're gonna follow up, and they're gonna get 1, 2, 3 kills.
And it's gonna be everybody dying. Oh my God! When does this happen? Everybody's dead.
G'day everyone, it's me, the Line Boss, back with another Nexus Gaming Series cast. I'm probably a bit quieter this morning just because I know some might... Oh, I say this morning, it's morning for me. It's 4 PM Eastern, and it's like 8 AM my time. I woke up not too long ago, so my voice is like, warming up. So it will be a little bit quiet for a moment, which hopefully doesn't reflect too much on the microphone, but I should probably check that now before I say too much more. So just give me a small moment when I just can push the button. Right, that's way too quiet. There we go. That should hopefully be better. Yep, I can hear myself. Excellent. And it was peaking, so I am going to move my mic slightly away from my face. There we go. Right. But this morning we have a D East game of Animaniacs versus Macro Machines. The side of Animaniacs banned out Volskaya Foundry and Alterac Pass, while the side of Macro Machines banned out Braxis and Dragonshire. And that will lead us to a first map, Towers of Doom. So let me just have a quick drink of water as we get on over into the game. So just changing on over now.
Prepare yourself for battle, heroes.
Right. So, on the left-hand side of Animaniacs, we have Esmodon Trump on the... that's a name. On the... oh god, I can't remember his name. Stukov. Bone Wizard is on the Junkrat. Django on the Sylvanas. May on Android 18... Android 18 on May, and Sir Watson 2 on the Malfell. Then on the right hand side we have Arcane 13th on Maev. KLA on the Joanna, I believe. Jimmy Bob Joe on the... oh god, I can't remember her name. We're going to get some cheese bottom anyway. Yeah, we get a little bit of Sir Watson trying to slow people down as they've actually just decided to try to kill him because they can see there's cheats going on bottom. Sir Watson now is in danger running towards the enemy team as Jimmy Bob Joe was on the, I can't remember her name. White main, Frizzank on Hanzo, and the last one I haven't mentioned is the Zul, but I'll have a look at them in a few moments. Android 18 taking a lot of damage in the process. Django also being chased out. Ratson is playing the Bone Manzel. But there we go. We already got most of bottom tower done. There was a little bit of split focus by what you can see. Maybe a little bit of a mistake. Just because if you can at least go and put one tower down, it would have been better. You can see Joe is hit by stun, stuck in the silence. We can see his Junkrat trap, boop, so back. However, she does have that iron skin up and is able to escape. Django gets hit by Arcane 13's Tether, gets pulled back and we can hear it. A few resets come out, but maybe not as much as Arcane 13 would like. But I guess it just does happen where it's a weird ability, that Tether, where it doesn't always... sometimes you feel like it should reset and it doesn't. But meanwhile, sometimes you're like, oh, that one reset and does. You're like, oh, that's a nice little surprise. Let me just throw some more knives. And then it just apparently you pop off for no reason. At least that's my experience with Maev, but it may also just be a terrible Maev. I know I'm just a terrible Maev, actually. Meanwhile, we can see a little bit of dueling up in the top lane. We see Sir Watson and Ratson both pretty much out of mana, out of health. Unfortunately for Sir Wat, I know it's pretty even either way. Ratson did pick up a health globe at that point, but so they are able to continue fighting. You can see either side of Animaniacs having to back out. Macro Machines trying to chase them off. Both teams with Sappers pushing in now. KLA once again getting stunned by May, but then I say that, but Arcane 13 gets an excellent tether, pulling in the whole backline of Animaniacs. And they're able to actually clear out the Sappers faster than Animaniacs, but Animaniacs is just finishing off Macro Machines Sappers now, so nothing major lost either direction. Level 4 was picked up on both sides, and let's actually have a look at talents now. Interesting. Interesting, I've not seen that level 1 picked in NGS before for Stukov. We see our Fettered Touch. So that auto attack range, that range auto attack, as well as the stacking quest on W. And the only other, oh, we also see Redemption Hanzo. I do love Redemption Hanzo. Also, hi Jim Bob Joe. Hope you're doing well today. I don't know how this match goes, but it should be interesting. I do love the white main pick. White main's not one you see too often, so happy about that. Right, but we do see Arcane 13 goes in backline, does not find Teva, but KLA is separated from the rest of the team, does use Iron Skin, no actually Viz, but Teva now as Arcane 13 gets all 3 backline members once again as they go back in. Not going to quite find anyone yet, and we can actually see Esmodon Trump and the Sylvanas Django is running out of mana. But it looks like everyone's starting to run out of resources. Arcane 13 probably being most like concerning one. However, speaking about running out of resources, May ran out of life and will go down. And now we can see Esmodon Trump in danger, getting dove on. That's them going down to Maev, Wraith form, Ghost form, Shadow form, whatever you want to call it. I don't actually know what it's called. And KLA will get the objective over. And I imagine there's going to be a decent amount of resets happening here as out of health, out of mana. Yep. Actually, no, it's just the white man going back. Interesting. That's because top objective is still up and everyone was wanting to push in. Zul.
Like all the others.
I guess Maniacs must have gotten the top objective as well. Both top objectives, because Macro Machines just got bottom. There's 4 shots missing. So yeah, I missed this fight here completely, because I guess Malphal is just able to bully Zul out for long enough to mean they're able to get both top objectives. Meanwhile, Ratson is going behind Sir Watson. Sir Watson in a little bit of a pinch maneuver. I think if there's a root coming out now, that is a very dead Malphal. We can see a root coming out. We can see a lot of damage coming out. KLA here to finish the deal, gets the stun out, and Sir Watson trying their hardest. Out of health, out of mana. No! 140 health. It went down to like 140, 130, and Sir Watson actually gets to live. Terrifying if you're Sir Watson, but a little bit frustrating if you're Macro Machines. I'd imagine that Malphal was able to get away, but you at least put the fear of God in him, which those Angels do deserve after what they did in Diablo 3. Meanwhile, we can see that there's a Black Arrows push going all the way down bottom, and the side of Animaniacs are able to get the, well, bottom tower, their bottom fort, sorry. Arcane 13 just throwing out some nice, you just see nice scatter. Actually, Frizzang's just about to complete their auto attack quest. And then we can see that will actually up the damage a lot from Hanzo. Hanzo with that only 1 second auto attack timer becomes very painful very quickly, especially with that minus armor that he gets from his auto attacks and his Ws. Arcane thinks about going in, decides better. Okay. Just gonna check myself once again. Yep, so we do see it is yet another altar phase up. Okay, that is picking up, whoops. And we do actually see Maze going down because my one-handedness is not doing well currently. Sorry about that. A little bit slack on my front. We do see Ratson is getting objective. We can see Animaniacs is close to 10. Django does use that Haunting Wave to unstop through the Tether. But Bone Wizard is trying to stall out Ratson. Doesn't quite, does actually get it, barely. And we can actually see a root going out to Kane 13 for Esmodon Trump. Doesn't quite give a silence under them, and that will be a very dead Sylvanas. Just not enough health to get through that final bit of burst. Level 10's looking like they're just on the, barely on the horizon for the side of Animaniacs. There they are now. Right, let's have a look at what level 10's are picked up. We can see Rocket Ride picked up by Junkrat, Wailing Arrow Sylvanas, Avalanche by May, Massive Shove by Stukov. Malphal is thinking about it a little bit. He's going to take his time. On the other side, we do see Warden's Cage Maev. We see, oh, a nice, actually a lot of combo potential here. Because we also see Dragon Strike from Hanzo. Divine Reckoning. Yep, Divine Reckoning from the... I can never remember her name. White Maid. I love playing the character, but I can never remember her name for whatever reason. But Blessed Shield by Joe. Skeletal Mages by the... I went to go say Leoric, that's not remotely correct. Zul. And last right's Malphal. Right, let's close that up. have a look at this 5 is just continuing down here. Django is doing a Sapper camp while there's a spoke going on, but Joanna is... Ooh, Joanna nearly sniffed it out. They went to go up, but they didn't quite get anything with it, and we can see the stun barely clips her. Unstop comes out. She wasn't really any danger, so I'm not so sure about that Unstop, but if you're concerned, I guess if you're too concerned and can't quite see where everything is going down, you just want to get that Unstop out to make sure nothing bad happens. Right, Ultra's coming up soon. We do see Arcane 13th blinks in, gets that. There's a lot of actually ults being used here because we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ult heroics used. We can see 2 members of the side of Animaniacs going down to that Warden's Cage. As I say, that Warden's Cage Dragon Strike combo, but we can see Junkrat got out using the Rocket Ride. We can see Avalanche was used there as well. Wasn't quite necessary. Also, Skeletal Mages has been used top. Another thing to note down here, Junkrat is going to get their own objective. That means there's 5 shots going in. And if this may be a mistake, because if they aren't able to get this in time, that means that leaving just 2 up here to stall out the objective isn't quite worth it. Because they could just go, no, this is ours now, because Android 18 is going to try their best to stall it out. Maev and Frizank is working on it as well as they can, but I don't know if they can stop the 5 shots. No, they can't. So that's 10 shots into the core of Macro Machines this phase, and that's not quite what you want to happen if you are, well, Macro Machines. Great if you're Animaniacs, but not great if you're Macro Machines. So, looking at the comps, let's just talk about this for a little bit, just because we're going to get a little bit of back and forth. So I'm going to open up stats while I'm talking about this. Both comps do like fighting. Yes, it's true. However, one comp is pretty general across the board, like they're pretty good across the board. One comp very much comes online at this point. And that's because Hanzo, very good at 16, until then pretty good, but still pretty Jimmy Bob Joe on the, well, not Jimmy Bob Joe, but Whitemane in general has a very strong late game. Once she gets her 13s and 16s, she can really start pumping out those healing numbers and those damage numbers. As you can see, she is that Tether build. Shared Inquisition, I imagine, will be picked at 16. Ooh, that is not where you want to be if you're Azmodon Trump as you're trying to hold on. We can see that that Android 18 didn't quite hit anyone with that Avalanche this time. And we can see, however, the combo didn't quite work out, and the side of Animaniacs is able to escape. Hanzo just needs to be a little bit quicker on that Dragon Arrow. Because if you're committing one ult, you may as well commit both, but I guess it doesn't quite matter once 16s are 20s are found. Django, however, will get chased off your own camp. Bone Wizard wanting to step in, doesn't quite get it. Android 18 also stepping in. Arcane 13 ending up in an awkward situation. Django wearing, actually no, I don't want to be here anymore. Massive shove, finding the... Oh gosh, I completely forgot her name again. Because I just am not used to saying her name. Massive shove did find Whitemane, but wasn't quite able to get her into the enemy bay, well, into the death zone just above the actual core itself. We see Arcane 13th is going to try channel that objective. Won't be able to, will get sorted out a little bit. Meanwhile, Junkrat is getting bottom and will be able to get back quite easily. Let me close this to make it easier to see. So we just have a little bit of scuffle between that Sir Watson and Android, Arcane 13th here. Here comes the Silence Arrow. No last rides at the moment. It's on cooldown currently. It's 30 seconds away. We see May pops the ice block just to make sure nothing goes in. Meanwhile, while the fight was happening above, Macro Machines got pushed out, Azmodon Trump managed to pick up the objective. And that is actually the Joanna going down to Junkrat to finish off that fight. So we did lose, so Macro Machines did lose one at the end, but they are still ahead on kills. So we can see now May has died, and suddenly Django doesn't want to be here, and they are going to slowly back out. Jimmy Bob Joe slowing them down as much as can. Frizank wanting to get the hits on them, but also slowed by Azmodon Trump's W, that feather touch. Bone Wizard trying their best to steal this objective, and will not quite do so. Jimmy Bob Joe got a little bit low there to the, I can't remember what it's called. Junkrat's like martyrdom ability, basically, where he can just, when he dies, drops his grenades on the ground, and they do a decent amount of damage, actually. I can't remember how much per. But it's definitely not something you want to deal with. We do see that Sir Watson's getting chased down. We can get all those scatter arrow hits going off, so I imagine we are... Ooh, we actually percent damage on the Hanzo. That will be very interesting coming into this. Because Malphite's not necessarily the healthiest of bruises. Really, that works really well on May, but I don't know about Malphale. But I guess if you're going auto attack build, it doesn't make too much sense to pick piercing. Of course, if you're going the upgrade to ult, it definitely helps. Ooh, we can see a white May not being used early. Nothing quite found there with it. Similarly for Azmodon Trump's shove ability, didn't quite find anything either, so neither here nor there. And we can see it is a triple ultra phase coming up. You can see Arcane 13th goes in the backline, actually loses a lot of health, not a lot, but a decent amount of health in the process, being forced out. She's getting a lot of resets as the side of Animaniacs is pushing through this kind of area, this small clumped area. Arcane 13th gets the tether out. We do see that it is now the Dragon Strike, but once again a little bit too late. Android 18 getting relatively low. Actually will go down to the Hanzo. That percent damage is doing a little bit too much. Here bombs away. Doesn't quite find its mark, unfortunately. Arcane 13th does get one last tether, and we can see that. Meanwhile, Ratson's being chased down by Sir Watson top. However, Sir Watson is in danger now. You can see 1 hit, 2 hit, last rights comes out. However, Ratson does have that bone shield, uses it at the right time, meaning they get to live. And that will be a last rights used, but not quite finding its mark, which, unfortunate. You do at least have 1 stack so far if you're Ratson, so it's not the end of days, so to speak. But it's definitely, he seems to be struggling to find those. But there are a lot of abilities on the side of Macro Machines that will let him burst through, will let them survive that burst damage. Ratson has Bone Shield, there's Iron Skin from Joanna. Jimmy Bob Joe is, well, White Mane I should say, is a very good just burst healer. So yeah, and also Maiev has Vault of the Wardens. So of all the characters, the only one who's kind of almost a guaranteed kill if they're away from the team is Hanzo. Meanwhile, we do see camp taken top by the side of Macro Machines. They also took boss off the map. But then we can see that Animaniacs is getting a relatively large push here with the, those damage boosted sappers thanks to Django and their passive, their level 4 ability. As we can see, all but one of the sappers are used on it. Android 18 taking a lot of damage for Skeletal Wraiths. Skeletal Mages doing a lot of damage. Arcane 13 blinking around trying to make sure they survive. Warden's Cage doesn't quite find its mark. Sturkov just completed a quest, and that is, despite everything being used, no one was actually found. Really the only things that weren't used was Dragon Strike and Last Rites, just because Malphale was in Narnia, and yeah, that was about it. Malphale was in Narnia, and I guess Hanzo saw no one was caught in the cage, so they went, not really any worth using it there. Right. But now we can see this bottom tower is controlled by the side of Animaniacs. Dragon Strike comes out now. Doesn't actually do damage to buildings or structures or minion waves or anything like that. It's just heroic targets. You see Last Rites coming out, and that is actually the Maiev going down, as that's a very well timed Last Rites. Apparently, Vault of Wardens was not up. And then he literally just walked up Last Rites and then just went, go back to soaking, I'm done here. But we can see actually Macro Machines are closer to level 20. He's out macroing the side of, well, not even necessarily out and macroing the side of Animaniacs currently. They are just winning. They're getting a lot of kills. They always seem to be at awkward times. Because, like, while yes, they do have the kill advantage, they don't have the objective advantage. They're very much one tower's in the favor of Animaniacs. Meanwhile, objective, we are literally one objective currently away for Animaniacs from getting the win. They have currently 5 towers. They need to keep those. What Macro Machines need to do here is they need to go anywhere else. They should push down this building here and make it 4v4 and make it so that, Animaniacs now need to go elsewhere than protecting this to win the game, and then you can get that back when you force Animaniacs' hand by doing something else. But as it is, in this current kind of standstill, Animaniacs aren't really obliged to go anywhere. They have a very good offlaner who can get a lot of that. So, we see Iron Shield, we saw Divine Shield, we see Azmodon Trump actually going down pretty quickly. Wailing Arrow will not keep him alive. However, Junkrat will get KLA very low. KLA holding on. Jim Bob Joe trying for their best to make sure they hold on. Android 18 managed to slide out. And that is the kill that the side of Macro Machines needed. It means they'll not lose here, and this game goes on just that bit longer. Right, so, heroics, let's see what's picked up. Ooh, Purge of Wicked, I like it. you don't see it often, but it is a good ability on her. It just gives that little extra burst heal. Other things we have is Kellen's Addict. I don't really know what his level 20s are called, but we do see objective is going to be contested very soon. We also have... Oh. Hunter died? I got distracted. So sorry. Of course I missed that. But we do see objective was picked up by Macro Machines. We do see Django getting very low, is able to get out. We see Android 18 does actually go down to that burn damage from Purge and Wicked by the looks of it. So what Jimmy Bob's Cho said in chat was best level 20. Turned out to maybe be the case, as it did help take down that May there. Other things to note, we have a Dragon Awakens from Hanzo, and we have, I don't know what it's called, Shadow Orb Vengeance from the Maev. And on the other side, we have No One Can Stop Death on Malthael. Barbed Arrows? Withering Barrage on the Sylvanas, who does have to use Haunting Wave to get out. The big one on May, as I haven't actually realized, but I did just see now that we do have full Q build on them. Stukov's having a good old think about it. I imagine we're going to see Vault of Water news in just a few moments. Yep, there it is. Jim Bob Joe, however, loses a lot of their health. Not loses a lot of their health. Django also in an awkward situation. But we also see I Hate Waiting from Junkrat. And Stukov is doing a good old think about it. I'm hazard a guess we may see top off. But I would like to see when push comes to shove, just because it's such a fun ability. And there it is, when push comes to shove. Oh, without the win, it's just push comes to shove. Which, nice. I love this talent. One of my favorite memories of this talent, comes to shove, is doing ARAMs against friends, so 5v5 ARAMs. And just... I love this person dearly. A person called Lexi. They were playing Orpheus, and whenever they'd get back in the fight, you just shove them again. And this person had like a raging bloodlust, like, I want to kill, and just constant, no, I don't think you do. And just push them away. Meanwhile, we can hear a root coming out. We can see there is a 4v2 going down here. Meanwhile, we do see Zul goes down top. Jimmy Bob Joe is getting stored out of this bottom objective. We can see Bone Wizard trying their best. However, they're just letting Sylvanas cap top. They are letting Jimmy Bob Joe cap bottom, but there's still only one in it. Iron Skin holds on just for long enough. KLA meaning they get to live for Zank. Now he's putting the Dragon Arrow straight through it. There's a little bit of room to fight underneath. Android 18, Sir Watson, however, putting out that, raising that healing output. Hanzo's first one go down. Then May soon after. Sir Watson holding on for dear life with it. Everyone's close enough to him where he can heal consistently. And it looks like it should just be a boss call. Ratson calls GG. They know what's about to happen. There's a ping on the boss, as I believe Junkrat is actually going, go here. We win. Take it. GG's called by Sir Watson and Bone Wizard as well. So I think we know how the end of this one's going to play out, unless Zul can make some miracle play and somehow respawn now and get back there. No boss. GG. Nope. Definitely no boss. Don't look there. Wailing Arrow used to close it out. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4 shots, as we can see them going dirt. And only one of them actually hit head to head. Right. That was a very good series by both teams. Macro Machines definitely are not quite living up to their name and more being team fight machines that time. But let's see the game summary screen and see how that went down. So, okay, we're looking at talents first. Anything that stands out here? Full Q build May, interesting. Not something you see too often, but it is a, if you're having things like Black Arrows, having a, I can't remember what it's called, Slush Ball that also disables structures, does a lot of, man, I didn't realize that, 75% opponent's damage. But it does a lot to keep buildings turned off, because between Sylvanas and May, you actually have a decent amount of, uptime of building disable. Like, you start with May Slush Ball, then Sylvanas Black Arrows, and then Slush Ball again. So you have at least 12 seconds, 15 seconds of off time, I imagine. Other than that, what else do we have? Purge Wicket stands out, I said that earlier. Hunter went full auto attack build, which works out which was working out pretty well from what I could see in the first place. So I was like, yeah. But I'll have a look at that in a few moments. And Esmodon Trump went that W at 1 and 7. Not something you see often, but it was working out more or less. However, we can see on the stat screen, Hanzo did a decent amount of damage. Sylvanas did a lot. she just 89k. It's a lot of Sylvanas damage. I'm at my EF 66, Hanzo 51. So a bit more damage on the side of Animaniacs, but there was a lot more healing on the side of Macro Machines, which did allow Macro Machines to soak through that, while Stukov did not quite do as much healing, but they didn't need to for the most part. Other than that, let's have a look at Soak. Malphao did out-soak Zul by quite a bit. Had to soak and siege damage over them, which it's really hard to keep up with Malphao and rotations on this map. That is just one of the things. They will pick on a Pale Horse, which, I don't know if they clicked Fairway Reaper, but the amount that Sir Watson was wanting to trade just meant that it was a little bit difficult for Ratson to keep in. Because without both heroes without mana do struggle. But without mana, Malphao still has their cleave auto attacks and their percent damage. Meanwhile, Zul is missing their cursed strikes. So it does make it harder for them. But right, that's enough about that map. Let's cut it on over to that. Alt tab. One hand is not easy. Right. Let's see what's picked up next, eh? I don't know what was picked up next. I don't know what happened in the series. I never do. It's far more fun for me to go into this blind, so I don't have to know what's happening. I do hope that there's no Infernal Shrines. But speaking about a Diablo map, we don't have Infernal Shrines, but we do have Battlefield of Eternity coming on up, which I like a good Battlefield of Eternity map. If you're a team that's good at team fighting, this is usually your map. So I imagine that we're going to see some strong plays from Macro Machines here, and it may go down to a free map series. But right, that is just loading up now, so let me just tab over here, change it in time. There we go. So let's start with the side of Macro Machines this time. We have Ratson on the Joanna, Just Poet is on the Li Ming, Arcane 13th on the Tychus, Jimmy Bob Joe on the Tyrande, and Morven is on Blaze. And on the other hand side, we have Django on Ana going... We're on offlane Ana? Interesting. Android 18 is on the... Forever W through the gate. Get the sword back, run with scissors. This is on the Anduin. We see Bone Wizard on Genji, Sir Watson 2 on the Malphao, and Esmodon Trump on the... There's a lot of role switching happening here, geez. On the Diablo. Right. Blaze has found Django. I imagine Django is stacking. Yes. But okay, Morven, you leave him stack. Okay, we'll see how that one goes later. I'll just keep this up so we can see that slowly ticking up. We do see Ratson stuns Sir Watson. Sir Watson now stepped a little bit too much. Does get hit by a stun. Grenade finding a decent amount of targets. Anduin just picking now. We see that with heal. But yeah, the only stacking to note so far is the auto attack from the Ana. Which Ana Maniacs are at least living up to their name. They do have Ana this game, just not in the heal slot, in the offlane slot, which she is actually a alright in quotation marks offlane bully. But I do wonder what the win condition is for Animaniacs. I don't know if they win race. I imagine we're going to have to see Bone Wizard go Q build at 4 and 13. Just because it... Interesting. Cheeky. Oh. Poor Ana. Yeah, Atika's going up does not help out, but meanwhile we have Sir Watson stealing this camp. They will get through it by the looks of it, and they won't get discovered. That's a very good macro call, but basically as soon as this goes down, we're probably going to see him half. Yep, it is found. There's probably Macro Machines going, wait a minute, what? Jimmy Bob Joe could probably just describe that to me because he's in the chat lurking around. He's probably also a bit confused about having to say. Bone Wizard does use flips to try to get out. Doesn't get too far, but does at least get far enough. Also, was Just Poet playing last game? Is that a different person in this map? I don't remember that name of the lineup. But we can see now it's a 2-3 split. Yeah, I imagine as much. 2-3 split. We do see Ana is not going to be able to get away with the offlaning they want, but that's why Sir Watson is now there, able to go up and actually take down Arcane 13th with that last Q. We see an owl coming up, doesn't quite find its mark, but level 4s are through first with the side of Macro Machines, despite Animaniacs so rudely taking their camp. Ah, it's Frizz who just appeared. I'm like, yeah, I don't recall Just Power being here, but unfortunately my memory ain't too hot. I'm a bit of a dumb boy sometimes, and I just didn't know who had disappeared. But we do see the off-lane matchup once again. Django is hitting these sleeps really well. This Morven is just getting bullied by an Ana, just wanting to stack consistently. Right, we can see there is going to be a quick reset by the side of Macro Machines. They don't need to go do their camp, so it's not like they're resetting their camp. They just want to get those resources ready to burn and fight. Right, objectives are up. Also going to have another look at notes. We do see Subdue on Joe. We see a root coming out onto Tychus. Tychus is that Master Assassin. However, the Master Assassins of Genji is going to unfortunately take them out before too long. Yeah, we do see Justpot and Ratson looking to defend. Malfoy is starting the race, same as Django. They're not necessarily known for their race, but they are at least not terrible. Immortals can at least get hit by that % damage, which will slowly stack up over time, but Justpot and Jimmy Bob Joe are probably better race heroes than Malfoy alone. And we can already see that it is caught up, and we can see now that the side of Animaniacs are ahead. More than trying their best to clear camp, managed to do so. Anna just pushing. Interesting. We can see Edward on Trump in danger, taking a lot of damage from Tychus. Barely holding on. Blaze tries to find charge. Does Jimmy Bob Joe have the arrow? No, but Tychus has an excellent read of that grenade and manages to take down Arcane 13th. Oh no, Arcane 13 managed to take down the tank. The Blaze. Not the Blaze. The Diablo. People change what roles they wear, so I'm so confused. Also, I guess Sir Watson is a Malfoy man, because I don't usually see Malfoy on this map. It does make sense into things such as, well, the heavier frontline that double tank gives. But it's not something that you see too often. But level 7s are through first with the side of Animaniacs, as they did at least have Anna, funnily enough, soaking throughout that whole objective. But we can see there is going to be a rotation. And they're going to go bottom, get that soak, while the rest of the 4-man goes up to match. Asmodon Trump is the tank now, right? Right, and we can now see that it is a relatively healthy Immortal pushing on up. And as I said before, Animaniacs don't have the best burn for this, and Asmodon Trump is actually getting eaten alive by Tychus, and will go down to Li Ming, just finishing it off with a Arcane Missile by the looks of it. Stun came out Sir Watson being forced out. Nice stun by Justpot as well. We see Sir Watson getting stacked back in. Bone Wizard goes for a swipe through, doesn't quite find anything with it. Will be trying their best to burn it down. Not quite getting there. They don't get to save this keep. They just don't have a way to get through it. So Watson now in danger, gets stunned, gets taken out. Meanwhile, we have Anna fighting Blaze once again down bottom, getting stacked through Infera at 45. And we can see now that Bone Wizard is getting chased out. But the side of Macro Machines decides they don't want to be there. Doesn't quite have enough to get through that next bit. And we'll go down to soaking. But it looks like Django may have trouble in Paradise coming, as it looks like there is a Tychus and a, well, I can't remember her name all of a sudden. Luna Tyrande on the way. However, Django goes deep enough to where the stun can't actually hit where they are. And we can now see that just Macro Machines are back to clearing wave. Nice. Now, we can see Blaze is checking the friendly camp once again. Be like, cool, he's not here. That goes dick from stealing our camp last time. But he may sniff out that Sir Watson is doing top camp, but I don't think he's going to get up there in time. Yep, there we go. We see that it wasn't found in time. I should really just watch that instead of doing this. That would have made much more sense, huh? We can see Arcane 13th does get the grenade onto Android 18. Doesn't actually find the kill. And unfortunately, it's a little bit too close to a wall, so Asmodon Trump can stump him. Django getting very deep to keep their stacks alive. Maybe a little bit of mistake from the Anna there, and we can see they go down. So, yep, definitely a mistake there. I, too, have been too greedy for those Shrike stacks before. Is that what it's called? It is definitely Shrike, but Vampiric round stack. Those Vampiric round stacks. And unfortunately for Anna, they will go down there because they were just a bit too greedy. But we can now see that level 10s have come through the side of Macro Machine, so let's see what is going to get picked up after the side. Because we do have Iron Skin popped by Joe. Joe not quite wanting to get stun comboed by Asmodon Trump. Not the place you want to be. But we do have Bunker Blaze. Draken Oh, Draken Laser Drill on Tychus. Makes sense for Race. It is a extra damage output, and you're not necessarily needing Commandeer Odin on this map, despite it being a pretty helpful ability. Wave of Force Li Ming. We can see Shadow Stalk Tyrande. Blessed Shield on Joe. You know, on the other hand side, we see Dragon Blade, Genji, Apocalypse Diablo, Light Bomb Anduin, so we may get a good old Light Bomb Genji combination, which is always a fun one. Nano Anna, so we may also get a Nano on the end of that. Good old Overwatch comp. Good old Nano Blade. I've played Overwatch once or twice, so I know what's up. And we do actually have last rights once again to round it out. But let's close this. We can see that Macro Machines are going to quickly clear this wave. Maniacs doing the same thing will follow suit to get rid of their own. But because of a full 5-man of Macro Machines went down, Maniacs now without a few extra members of their team to push in. You can see a nice sleep and double root coming out. Ratson and Morven. Oh, Morven gets hit just by the it at least. But yep, there's a Light Bomb Blade. Light Bomb Genji Dash, I should say. We can see they're trying their best to get anything on Bush Shield coming out, hitting Bowden Wizard and Android 18. Arcane 13 gets forced about Esmeralda on Trump bottom. We can see Sir Watson is going in. They're trying to get as much of that cleave heal as they can. Jimmy Bob Joe getting relatively low. Doesn't quite have the healing himself. Genji cleans up all 3 kills, or cleans up 2 of the 3 kills. Sir Watson manages to find their own eventually. Morven getting chased down, does get pushed by Asmo Don Trump right as the charge went out, interrupting it. And that will be a 4-man kill to the side of Animaniacs. So that was very necessary. Look how close that Immortal was, and that was just what you needed if you're Animaniacs. Because that's what I said. I don't think they win the straight up race. They need race. They need to fight. And we can see that now. Arcane 13th and Django are going to start scrapping it out. Django is actually going to take a little bit more than they bargained for, but maybe not as much as Arcane 13th would have thought they got in. We can now see that we're pushing back in. Ratson does get the stun onto Edwin on Trump, and Sir Watson's now there, very out of mana. Imagine Arcane 13th may have probably been a little bit better if they readjusted that drill off Django. Django just healing through it all, thank you to that those vampiric rounds, meaning they are able to keep up their health total as they keep auto-attacking. And lo and behold, it did wonders to keep him alive against a Draken and a Tychus. Because what, how many stacks are we at now? 84. That's going to be a healthy Ana. There's not going to be much in her way at the moment. Right, we see Blind coming out. We see Ratson doing his best to hold back the tide that is Animaniacs. But we can see Android 18 is just getting there now. They do have a Light Bomb combo up once again, so once this fort goes down, we may see it. And that is Bone Wizard going in very early, getting a very big shield off a deflect. Wow. Immortal goes down before the keep good. That is good. Macro Machines keep chasing. We see Asmodon Trump getting hit in the butt with a grenade. Not quite what you want to happen. Not the best place for it, but there definitely could be worse places to get hit with grenades. Much like the torso or the head. But not as good as something such as the legs or the arms. Alright, we can now see that this camp is getting taken by the side of Macro Machines. Animaniacs. Macro Machines isn't quite wanting that to happen. Joe isn't actually able to step onto the eject time. We see Vera's an excellent triple Light Bomb and the Genji Dash. However, APOC wasn't quite used in time, meaning that 2 of them were actually able to get out of it. Jim Bob Joe, however, not able to hold on to their health, as that is the Blade taking them down. Just Bob, however, able to survive. Similarly, Ratson was also able to survive. But however, will the fort be able to survive this as well is the question. Genji gets a little bit of deflect off, just a little bit deflect for Genji. Just Pot is going to try their best to defend. I think they're that hybrid build, yep, where they do have Triumvirate at 4, but still getting that Calamity at 7. I was like, what is it called again without me having a look at talents? But it is Calamity at 7. Yes, and we see Illusion is 13. Okay, yep, relatively standard. Surprised we don't see Glass Cannon. Just because we do have that weird hybrid build, and you do typically get Glass Cannon with it. But I guess if you are afraid of a Genji jumping on top of you, probably not the best. So actually, you know what? He's probably right. I don't know what I'm talking about 90% of the time. Android 18 manages to find Arcane 13th with that. Does his name really mean deaf? It's just occurred to me. 13th Arcana is deaf, isn't it? Huh. This suddenly makes a lot of sense. Welcome to my have some basic basic knowledge. Basic being like that type of thing. But yeah, we can see that there is a decent engage coming out. Poor Blaze hasn't been able to do anything. But Anduin goes down. That's not quite what we want to see. As Apoc was used early. Lightbomb was up, but Genji didn't quite have his last combo piece of Dragon Blade. But we can now see that Animaniacs did find that one kill, but is going to be stepping in now. Fortunately for Animaniacs, I've seen Animaniacs get killed. Macro Machines got the kill, and Animaniacs had to kind of get hold of for a little bit. Animaniacs is, however, about to get 16s. That's a very big thing to note here. And they do at least still have Anna up if they do decide to fight. We can see Dragon Laser Drill dropped and just going to focus on Soak. But if are we going to get a refocus? Nope, there's Dragon Blade. No Light Bomb available for it. And that is a, oh my god, a nano. Wow, I lost my words. Nano. This thing. We can see Genji was popping off, trying to get rats, and while there was a fight going up top to see Malphite try to get the kill. Bone Wizard will barely find the kill in the end, just for having to get out of bunker now. Does get found by Asmodon Trump immediately. Was there with 16 advantage, doing wonders for them. We can see a double sleep hitting Jimbo Bob and Just Bot. However, they will not go down, as 16 talents are actually now fully picked for the side of Maniacs. They have left a few to defend, as they don't want the side of Macro Machines just to steal. Morven is definitely wanting to steal, though. Does get a little bit of poke off it. Does find Django. Asmodon Trump is found by Just Bot. We do see a stun coming out onto Morven. Morven, however, does get out at least. Asmodon Trump with that Q reset when QEQ. Didn't quite find the first Q. Found the second one, though, after the E stun. Albeit probably not in the area they were expecting to get that stun off. Meanwhile, Malphite has just been racing this whole time, so Watson now, I really get to see the rating. Not quite what I need. Django taking a lot of damage. Ratson gets flipped off them. They're down to 200 health, going to stay up. That's self-healing, try and get through them. Weekend's going down, that's Anna going down first. We hear Blaze Charge coming out. They do manage to dodge the stun. Anduin goes down after using Light Bomb himself. Not great if you're the side of Macro Machines, but Animaniacs did get 16, so they are able to push into this. We see stun coming out. We see Bone Wizard Asmodon Trump not quite wanting to commit to that, and that is the third objective of the game, going over to the side of Macro Machines. As you see, 16s are now fully picked up by the side. Well, not quite fully picked up, but at least, no, they didn't even have 16s in that fight. They just happen to be on the same level, is probably the better way to put it, despite not quite using their talents yet. Right, and now we have Belif going to be pushing into this fort and keep, and as we already noted, or as I already noted, especially with first Mortal, Animaniacs don't really have an amazing way to deal with it. This Immortal will probably get a lot of value here. Hopefully not too much, hopefully they're able to stop it from taking their keep, but it will be a bit hard to say up until that point, because it is quite healthy still. Right, we see Sir Watson is going in, Blessed Shield goes out and they try to get the heal off, but no, unfortunately it's a little bit too much damage for him. Bunker is used, as I think Morven was a little bit concerned that they'd healed too much, but it isn't going down to the end. Django trying to get all of his healing stacks off. The blind's going to slow him down a little bit. Morven getting pushed around the fort, taking a lot of damage from it. Did pop Pyromania to make sure they don't go down, but there is the keep. So fort's been taking keeps and taken, but it looks like Animaniacs may be considering taking core as well. They're not fully committing to it, however. Django is out of position. Joe didn't quite find the stun and the follow-up onto them because of the sleep coming out from Django. Grenade finds the fort. We're actually now seeing this core is getting relatively low. Morven is stealth, so I imagine we had the silent, whatever whatever not Starfall is, be used. No one else quite goes down. But we do see that one map does go over to Macro Machines. GG call by both sides. So let's have a look at how that one went. As I alt tab with my right hand. I'm doing everything with my right hand currently. It's inconvenient. Li Ming had the most siege and hero damage. Didn't have the most suck. Huh. So while I said at the beginning of the game, I should say, Macro Machines probably has the team fight advantage just because of what they showed on Towers could do. Actually, it was Animaniacs who did end up picking up a bit more kills. However, at the end of the day, it was Macro Machines finding the game there. Just because, as I said, I don't know how Animaniac, well, Macro Machines finding game, but that's because I didn't know how Animaniacs was really planning on going about the objective. If they had level 20 with something such as Ana, who does a lot of auto attack damage in a very short amount of time thanks to the dynamic optics, which I assume would have been picked, then yeah, maybe that would have been Animaniac's game. But as it was maybe a little bit too late game with a little bit too slow an immortal burn to get really through that. They did have very good team fights. They did have a lot of presence there just with that Genji Light Bomb Dragon Blade combo that was going off, as well as the Malthael with the Ana Nano Boost. They had a lot of damage. They had a lot of abilities to get rid of members of Macro Machines. But at the end of the day, they just couldn't race, and those Immortals were just a little bit too punishing for them. Having a look at talents, anything that stands out? Yeah, off-lane Ana. But outside of that, no, everything makes more or less makes sense. I'm surprised Genji didn't go Q build. I think that may have fixed a few of their Immortal racing problems, just because if they're level 13, it makes it to a lot of damage. But it's neither here nor there, and they did still have a good run of it. And they do still have the lead when it comes... Well, they did still have map 1. So we are going to get a free map series. Let me jump it on over to map view. And we're going to find out what our final map of the day is. Well, not the day, but of the match is. I hope it's on Infernal Shrines. I pray it's on Infernal Shrines. Let's go over here. Let's tick that Macro Machines won it. And Garden of Terror. Oh, I've not seen this one much this season. And more importantly for me, it's not Infernal Shrines. That's a hell yeah, brother. But I'm just having it load up now, so what I'm going to do is get it ready, because when I see that bar shoot up, I really don't want to have to alt-tab, because, man, it is annoying to do it with one arm. But we will be starting with the side of Animaniacs this time, so let's change it on over now. Oh, it alt-tabbed too quickly, damn it! There we go. Right, there we go. So on the side of Animaniacs, we have Sir Watson 2 on the Dahaka, Bone Wizard on the Dubrak, Esmodon Trump is back on that. Just like doing the animation for his silence. Stukov. Django is on the Bird Felstad. And my throat suddenly decided to die. And Andrew Antine is on, Nazebo. I love good boy. And on the other side, we have Morbin back on Blaze. Ratson is on the... I'm doing like his Wind Fury animation. Frawl, Just Poet on Tassadar. Jimmy Bob Joe on the right wing, and Arcane 13th on May once again. This will be interesting. I do like Animaniacs comp. I do like that they have double global, so they can essentially be at any objective they can. But the triple front line for Macro Machines could very much be a little bit too much for the side of Animaniacs to overcome. I imagine we're going to have to see auto attack build from Falstar, but we're probably going to see Q. Nope, there is the auto attack build, so we're going to see sustained wins at 13, which does that auto attack damage. Frawl is probably going to go... Okay. Very standard Frawl build, that standard offlane build with the blue Q at 13. 1. We also see static charge from the Tassadar, who does need that damage burst, because they really are the burst damage of this comp, and they do need that to finish it off. And once we see Spider build Nazebo, who's a bit slow on the good old Vial Infection currently, but Spiders are already at 35, so he's getting there. But as I said, there's also Frequent Flyer from Felstad and Enhanced Agility from Animaniacs from the Dahaka just around those quests out. See, Just Poet does get stunned by Bone Wizard. Bone Wizard now in a bit of danger. Asmodon Trump, however, is the one going to get stunned. Just Poet is getting what auto attack damage they can. Will they get the Q cleave onto them? They're looking for it. There it is. Asmodon Trump barely holding on. It feels even one more stack on there from Just Poet. That was a very dead Asmodon Trump. So fortunately, they didn't the side of Animaniacs didn't line up just to get hit by it. Because if Bone Wizard got hit by it, that extra tick of damage would come in and Asmodon Trump would have died. And that's just a little bit of micro gameplay where, I don't know if they did it on purpose, but turns out multiple people getting hit by a thing. Good idea to not do that. We do see Bone Wizard is going to get hit by that silence. However, it is going to be Vermeer going down first, which not ideal, but not the end of the world as it happens. We do actually now have a level advantage through for the side of Animaniacs, so I've pushed the wrong button. Let's have a look at talents once again. Right, we see them doing a siege camp. Probably don't all need to go. You could have probably kept one of your members mid, whether it be Android 18 because they need stacks, or Bone Wizard because they probably do the camp slice. Either way, maybe not necessary for everyone to come here. We do see Django and Morven fighting it out. Morven actually getting the best of Django so far, but that's because Blaze has a decent amount of self-sustain, and Django's only just gotten theirs. The stun barely finds Just Poet not going to be able to get that channel over. Django looking like they want to go in, and we see stun going under the backline. We see that Sir Watson was able to dodge under that Q, however Django managed to eat the brunt of it. Bratson holding on for dear life, that Thrall barely sustaining through it. They're not quite the tankiest of characters, but they at least do have that kind of extra self-sustain thanks to their passive. Django in danger. Arcane 13th manages to find the last auto attack on them, making them go down. We see now they are using that ice block. There's such a split fight because we see Bone Wizard going down through the back line of Macro Machines. Meanwhile, that is now a 5v3. Morven healing up on their fire. Ratson getting the objective. And that will be the first seed of the game going over to the side of Macro Machines. I really need to work my... I'm so used to using like two hands to do everything, so I have one hand doing like stats and talents and such. But now I've only got my right hand, I'm feeling like really slack on both things because it's having to compensate for the other. But yeah. We can see now this is getting cleared out. And we're going back to just general soaking. No camps found. I was going to say no camps found yet for the side of Macro Machines, but there we go. There's some macro. They're getting the objective just. Oh, not objective, but camp just now. And we actually see Thrall take down the Felstad. Thrall was actually probably one of the better ones to get on top of Felstad, as Felstad doesn't quite have the movement speed that... Oh, Thrall actually has the movement speed to close the gap. They also have a W close the back gap. So it definitely is one of the tougher off-lane matchups for Felstad, especially because they are used to picking on those off-laners a fair bit. But right. Level 7 talents through both sides pretty much even experience. A little bit of advantage for Macro Machines, but not majorly so. They're on the same level, so it's not going to matter too much. We can see actually, however, that it looks like Animaniacs just want to push instead of going to objective, which honestly not the worst idea at the moment. Oh, Sir Watson is actually going to see if they can stall it out. Does burrow it up, finds a tongue on a Ratson, however, Polymorph immediately coming out, so Ratson isn't really going to be affected by it too much. Does manage to give the good old Duke. Managed to dodge through Ratson. We can see a Brightwing phase shifting onto Morven. Now we're going to see a defense of this bottom lane here as Animaniacs got a decent amount of push from it. Android 18 barely gets stunned by it, just the heels of his feet season there. We can see that is the lightning fence coming out. Nice Q cleave from Just Poet. They're going my kind of favorite build from Tassadar, the hybrid build where you pick up the W. You go Q quest at 1, but then you have W at 7, and I imagine 16 as well, hopefully, fingers crossed. But we'll have to see where it goes. As we see now, Seed is spawning, and the side of Animaniacs are already posturing around it. Right. Level 10s are just about through for Macro Machines. It will come through first. It will come through soon but for Animaniacs. But not in time. Well, it will come in time for this objective if they decide to continue soaking. There it is. And this may be the first seed of the game going over to the side of Animaniacs. Okay, one of you need channel. Okay, Asmodon Trump just throws out a Q first. Just make sure everyone gets healed up. Meanwhile, we have Macro Machines just doing camps in process, making sure that they can also get their own macro pressure out, just because they have been a little bit behind compared to Animaniacs, but they are at least doing it. We can see now we're getting called for let's push here top. So we're going to have a push top, a push mid, and a little scuffle bottom. Brightwing was in a bit of an awkward situation, did manage to dodge the CC, but we can see that Animaniacs are deciding to steal the camp on Macro Machines as that Bruiser camp goes down very quick. Meanwhile, we had probably could have had a bigger push here, but didn't really have a full commit by the side of Macro Machines. And you can now see that they're going to get caught a little bit out of position as that is the Cocoon going out, dives past it, however, onto Ratson, decides, actually, you know what? Ice Wall is going to make things worse for Just Spot, actually, as they can't quite hold on. Bejev comes out, they use Black Hole, they are just going to keep running. But Jimmy Bob Joe is the one out of position now. W doesn't quite find its mark from Stukov. And that, what looks like was a very dead Poet, turned into a, oh my god, it's going to live Poet. As they didn't find the death, they didn't find the kill out of Cocoon. Speaking about kills, Arcane 13th is an awkward situation, does get stun onto Asmodon Trump. They are going to do their best to hold on, pushes the Bone Wizard to the other side of him, meaning they are going to hold on. And we see the Earthquake coming out. However, May is going to go down first, taking out both those actual plant shamblers. Just sit around the objective. Gus everyone away from the main team, but into Sir Watson. Sir Watson barely holding on, going, dude, what the hell? Why'd you Gus them into me? But they are able to actually live. We do see Blaze getting charged onto Bone Wizard. Bone Wizard is going to hold on for their dear life. Ratson going after them, seeing if they can get the kill. However, Ratson really low. However, Just Poet's the first one to go down. As we do see that is them going down to the main kind of core of the side of Animaniacs. Then we see the Frog going down. We see Sir Watson backing. And objective is going to get picked up by Animaniacs. It isn't the third one, fortunately, so we aren't going to get any plant terrors quite yet. But we are one step away by both Animaniacs and Macro Machines from getting those plant terrors coming out. Oh, that's an excellent Freeman stun, Freeman Icefall by Arcane 13. They don't quite have a follow-up with their stun, but we are going to get now a decent-sized push from Animaniacs. They have Garg out. They have a Naz there as well. And that is actually the Anubrak going down, just a little bit too much damage onto them thanks to Just Poet and May. Meanwhile, Arcane 13th is not quite, well actually yes, they are pushing to the gate, but fortunately the gate was at least up, so they aren't going to go down. We are now seeing Arcane 13 being chased into Narnia. Valstad wanting a piece of them, they look like they are percent damage, they are indeed that percent damage, there is that sustained wins. We're talking about sustained damage as Arcane 13th going down, but meanwhile, that was also Asmodon Trump going down, as they were found by a large contingent of Macro Machines. So this is going to be a fight where both teams are missing a key player. In saying that, Macro Machines do still technically have a tank up. More than is on Blaze. Like, yeah, sure, they're using an off-lane build, but it is still Blaze. They have charge, they have oil, and they have a lot of self-sustain if they put the oil under the self-line of fire. However, Android 18 thinks otherwise, Django thinks otherwise, as well as Android 18 to manage to find the kill of him. Meanwhile, Bone Wizard has gone very and does use the web wrap onto Brightwing, however, on their own for the moment. Web Weavers are, not Web Weavers, my god. Plant Terrors are going to drop in, they're the same thing. They're the same thing. They have the same function. I don't care. I do care, actually. I do need to get it right. That's the first time we've mixed up that one, though. We see Icewall coming out onto the Android 18, so Android 18 will get stalled from a little bit. Icewall won't kill them or anything. Meanwhile, we can see Stukov tries to get the shove on Arcane 13. Once again, Arcane 13 is able to dodge it. Does able to dodge it. Jesus, my English is terrible today. We can see that is the fort going down. Right. That is now all three forts down on the side of Animaniacs. You see Ratson's doing best clear wave. Jimmy Bob Joe is going to clear the minions in return. You can see now, nice clear by, oh, May goes down bottom. Nazebo was able to find the kill with Bone Wizard. God, there's just action happening everywhere, I guess. I really need to keep my eye on the health bars a bit more. As we do see Morven charges and gets nice stun onto Asmodon Trump. That stun build does actually so much, by Blaze. We can see that combustion goes off. Does just find Django, unfortunately, for Morven. Morven now in an awkward situation where they are probably, yep, going to go down. Their spiders just do so much damage once it's stacked. And then the auto attack damage, percent damage from Django as well, just a little bit too much. And meanwhile, we actually have the infinite repeating heal from Asmodon Trump. So as long as members of the side of, oh wow, that barely went off, of Animaniacs are near enough each other, that universal carrier will keep the heal going, so to speak. Meanwhile, we have both our global heroes top. All three global heroes on the map are top. And we can see Just Poet is getting chased down by Sir Watson. Does get a tongue off from them. However, Jim Bob Joe did have a heal up. Django in danger. Does leave for all to the last second. Is able to get out of danger. And actually decides, you know what, Sir Watson? You may actually be on your own here. I may gust to help you out. Django gets queued. Sir Watson holding on for dear life. Does manage to dodge more than an Arcane 13th. So Watson's just leading them on a bizarre adventure. So Watson's bizarre adventure, however, will not go down quite like JoJo's, and they will, unfortunately, perish. Right. Coming into this next objective phase, Macro Machines have all to play for from this, because if they get this seed, they have Plant Terror coming out. And that Plant Terror will just do a lot to like help them kind of push into this to push into the forts and actually even it up, just because, well, this is a lot of pressure they have on them currently. However, if they decide not to, they decide just to get other things instead, despite Animaniacs being down a player. I don't know how I feel about that play, but hopefully it pays off in the long run, because they are looking at maybe looking at 2 camps, but no, we have Morven now stuck out away from everyone else. Bone Wizard getting us double stun. Maybe a little bit preemptive on that cocoon there. However, we do now have the side of Animaniacs following up on it. Morven, however, does use charge, is able to get out. Phase shift being used. Morven barely holding on, but that is Morven living. We can now actually see the turnaround of the fight, as we can see Falstar's taken down. Four completed his quest, and Tassadar completed his quest as well. So now there is a lot of damage on the field for the side of Macro Machine. And they are now looking like they're very much in this game. This is a close game 3 that I was hoping for. Right. Let's see where we go from here. As we do have, it's an even talent, basically even kills. The only thing that is missing is one hero on the side of Animaniacs, but they're not wanting to give up the seed so easily. Arcane 13 Fratson looking to go in. We see a nice ice wall, but again, oh, there's the W to follow up. So we may see Bone Wizard and Android 18 in danger now. Android 18 does get the ice zombie wall out, meaning that there will be a little bit of trappage onto, as I say, the enemy side, but we do see that they will go down eventually. May is traded for them, however. He did manage to find May in the meantime. Sir Watson holding on for dear life. Esmond on Trump does manage to dodge more than Sir Watson just living in the backline. It looks like that they're the W build that is just going to keep getting that reset off, and yep, indeed they are. See now, Just Power is in danger. It does start the black hole animation, and that is Sir Watson holding on for dear life as that W just keeps on going, getting that enhanced agility going once again. And that is a Sir Watson trying his best to get on top of him. Them taking out, they are just movement speed, the W, the everything, and they are able to take what looks like a bad fight for Animaniacs actually turned out to be in their favor, and that will be their seed once again. I never actually looked at Heroics, so it just occurred to me, because we do have it. I was like, what is actually Dahaka? I'd never actually realized him, but no, he is adaptation. I don't know how I got this far through without looking at it. But we can now see objective choices are going to be chosen. We'll actually just talk about Storm Tower, so I'm not going to bother with Heroics at this point. As we can see, the change is Survival from Dahaka. We can see Wind Tunnel from Felstar. That is such a strong Heroic upgrade. It's honestly one of my favorite Heroic upgrades in the game, just because once you get it, it honestly feels like the game is entirely different. It does feel like oh, I've got this one button to watch out for. All others don't matter, but that one matters the most. Well, not all others don't matter, but that one is the most terrifying in my opinion. Otherwise, we have Push to Shove from Stukov, as well as Rewind from the Anubarak, who, as I said, did go Cocoon. But right, level 20s will be through soon enough for the side of Macro Machines, but they do need to get it before this next objective, as it is another objective where both teams can get the seed. And the seed objectives haven't been going all that good for Animaniacs. There's that wind tunnel, there's the silence. We actually see Ice Wall coming out, meaning that they're not able to find the kill off the back of it. Django going relatively low, gets taken down by Blaze Charge, and we can see that Naz is the next one to go down. There's seed being called now, so unless Animaniacs can pull off another miracle like they did last time, I don't know how they're going to stop Macro Machines from getting this one. Guess what? You have a tank, a bruiser, and a healer. Albeit the healer can do a lot of damage, but a healer. You see Sir Watson trying to stall things out. Is going to need to use Burrow Dodges under Morven's stun. However, is going to get polymorphed. Changes survival. Barely goes off in time. Like, man, just watching it just going, oh, his health bar. See, Ratson is going into Sir Watson. Ratson, however, now overextended a little bit, but no one there to punish him. As, again, most of the side of Animaniacs are down. They're missing both their damage dealers. Morven is starting to channel. Bone Wizard won't quite be able to stall. They are barely able to stall. Esmond on Trump also drops the E under it. Oh, that is Dahaka taking most of his damage in just a brief amount of time. Needs to use adaptation to survive here as well. They were dead otherwise. Icewall was used by Arcane 13th, and actually what's happened is Animaniacs has stored this out for long enough. They need to be able to store it again just so their damage dealers can get back. But it looks like they are going to have the tools to do so. However, that will be still Watson going down. We see Django flying in. There's the wind tunnel, not quite finding the angle they want in it. There's a nice double stun by Bone Wizard as we do see Just Port getting relatively low. Django needs to use roll. Double stun coming out from the Blaze. Blaze actually meaning that the Nubrak will get taken down. Falstad gets taken down shortly after. Esmodon Trump not quite going to hold on. Just Port gets the objective. And while yes, Animaniacs held on long enough to get back, it wasn't quite it. It wasn't quite it for them. And unfortunately for Macro Machines, all the plant terrors, I nearly call them Web Weavers again, quite far back in lane. Just because of how the lanes have been formed because of these, because of their lack of forts and all the cata pressure that they are getting, it means that a lot of the plant terrors will not quite be as close as they may have liked. So it's going to be honestly mid and then bot and top are going to clash at roughly the same time, but I don't know how healthy those plant terrors are going to be by the time they get there. Stretching with only one arm, that's the problem. We can see that this first plant terror has reached. Oh. Sorry about that. Has reached the gate, and now we're going to have to get Animaniacs holding on for as long as they can. As you can see that Dahaka is now back up, but imagine, yep, we see Dahaka has gone top to deal with top. That is a new break up who will help deal with mid, and I imagine we're going to see Falstaff fly bottom. But I don't know, is Macro Machines looking to end off this objective? I don't know if they can. No, they are just going to back out. Bone Wizard tries to get the stun off on everyone, but doesn't quite find it. Actually, what, are they not Epicenter? No, they're Auto-Attack Beetles. Okay, interesting. Because I know I see Epicenter a lot when it comes to Anubrak, just even if you go full Beetles build, just because Epicenter gives you a bigger stun range, as well as it gives you more damage on the stun, more cooldown reduction on their E-Burrow. So interesting that we didn't see it picked up, but it is obviously working out for Anubrak currently. I don't know if it will stay that way, just because now that 20s are through for both teams, we're getting some even fights. Because I will also touch on the Storm talents now that we aren't going to have major pushing happening. We have Urban Shields from Thrall. We have Kugelblitz from the Tassadar Fairy Protector Brightwing. The big one on May and Burn Notice on Blaze. Interesting. But right, let's have a look, as we're going to have two camps just clash very shortly. Unfortunately for Siege Giants, they don't quite have a wave to protect them, so as I say, they will start getting attacked by the Knights. See, only one of them are getting attacked. The Knights are doing pretty, rest of it's doing pretty well. Naz comes up in time to make sure not both the Siege Giants go down and get more stacks, but they aren't the Val Infection you usually see at level 20. Because they're nowhere near it. Frankly, they're nowhere near getting that 175, so they did just go Garg upgrade. I wouldn't have minded seeing Blood Sacrifice, whatever it's called. I've seen it only used once in NGS match, but that was a borderline unkillable Naziro, because he could just unstop out of everything. And when you have something like a May, Blaze, and Thrall ready to run you down, it may have been a very necessary button, because 5 stacks of Voodoo Ritual isn't really that much. We see Icewall coming up, finding Dahaka ready to go in. We see Ratson is going to drop that Urban Shields Earthquake. We see Django using Wind Tunnel just on Ratson. Ratson looking a bit frustrated going down there. We see Justpot uses that Kugelblitz in the background. Only finds the Nazebo. Nazebo having to ice block it, because otherwise they were going to go down. However, we do see the... I need to close this. Anubarak. Oh my god, game. The Anubarak is going to barely hold on. Go down, sorry. Ah, my game. I hate doing things with one hand. I'm not right-handed inherently. And we get to see there's a very small Arcane 13's going down. We see Sir Watson is going to chase Morven out. Going hard on them. Well, they do find the W, they do find the Q, they find the auto attack, so that will be them going down. Meanwhile, Brightwing is trying their best to hold on. Jimmy Bob Job. I said that so wrong. Jimmy Bob Joe, unfortunately, will go down. And Matt, doing this all with one hand is actually really difficult. Because I was like trying to follow the action, I accidentally clicked something, and then we got over there. Yep, as we saw it, disaster. Not the best camera work I've ever done. Not the worst, but definitely pretty bad. But we can now see that's Plant Terror on core. That will be core going down. GG call by Rats, GG call by Arcane 13th. And it looks like they know that is going to be... Okay, guys, seriously, just end. Don't be dicks. And we can see that as game going over to the side of Animaniacs. GG from both sides. Raka, it's hard to cast with one hand. I'm messing up so much already. But right. Let's go over to the game summary screen. No worries. It's happy to have you around, Jimmy Bob Joe. I nearly messed up again, but right, let's have a look at how things went down. Very even damage. So Watson and Frawl actually both squeezing up the most damage. Tesla honestly not too far behind. Frawl actually only about 62 damage behind, which is not much at all. But meanwhile, Dahaka really did the kind of hard yards for the team. But you could see that there was that one fight where they almost 3v1'd. I say almost, but it was like more like a 3v2 at that point. 2v3. Yes. Brightwing, amazing amount of healing. Esmodon Trump, not quite as much, but there was a bit more damage for Brightwing to try and mitigate than Stukov. In terms of Soak, Tassadar did really well on it. Same as Falstad and Dahaka being very close. Frawl actually got, I should say Siege, Frawl got most soak from one side, Django got most soak for the other. Let's have a look at talents. Anything that stands out? Q build once again from May, but I know that very much is a preference for May. No, not that. Beetlejuiced. That's the one that stands out most, because you usually see Epicenter at 16. Epicenter is such a strong ability. Obviously, it worked out for Anubrak as they managed to get the win. So who am I to judge? I am a horrible Anubrak. My ping does not let me play him, nor does my lack of an arm currently. Otherwise, you see Ratson got very stacked on Frawl, but it unfortunately wasn't quite enough. So, let me jump it on over to the map view screen. Right, and as we can see here, it was a 2-1 to the side of Animaniacs, where they picked up Towers of Doom first, and what was relatively close for a while, which looks like it could have gone Macro Machines' way at any point. Unfortunately, didn't quite find it. The Battle of Eternity was found by Macro Machines. Macro Machines having just the race that Animaniacs didn't. Animaniacs didn't really have anything to get through Immortal, but they did have a fun offlane Ana, which I enjoy. And then the last map, we did see pretty interesting comps from both sides. One had double global, one had triple frontline, but the double global team did take it out, and Animaniacs picked up the third map, leading them to a 2-1 win. Right, so that is going to be it for me for this series. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little bit of water, go on a quick break, have some painkillers because my arm hurts, and I'll be back with you guys once I have another set to cast. So I'll see you all in a little bit. Bye for the moment.